Okay, so today in our shared reading, we are looking at summarizing ideas from the text. Now, we know it says Friday the 6th of March, but we know it's not. We know it's the 5th of March, don't we? So number the sentences below to show the order they happened on page 59. The first one has been done for you. Jim was talking to the bent man in the yard. So let's find that in the text. So on page 59, Jim asked the bent man one day out in the yard, "How long have you been here?" So, as we know, he's sort of quite hunched back, don't we? Quite a sort of a bent over man. So that's number one. But what would number two be? So, Jim closed his eyes and was trying to remember. Joseph turned around and looked at Jim. Joseph thought he had been in the baby room with his ma. Joseph told Jim that he had been in the infirmary wards. Let's have a look. So, page 59. Joseph swung his head round and peered up at Jim. "Seems like I was born here. Don't know nowhere else, son. And I don't know all of this place neither." He leaned against Jim so he could swing his head up to look at the long, high building with its rows of barred windows. "I've not been in the room where the women go. Though long ago I must have been in the baby room, I suppose, with my ma." So what would number two be? Would it be Joseph thought he had been in the baby room with his ma? Joseph turned around and looked at Jim, maybe? Jim closed his eyes and was trying to remember. Well, it wasn't that, was it? So what was number two? Okay, so we can only do that by looking at the text. We never, ever go off memory. Okay, we have to find exactly where it is in the text. And then number two, number the sentences below to show the order they happened on page 60. So the first one, Joseph wanted to see the river. Now I remember them talking about that, but we need to find that here. And there's no river, there's a great big river outside here. "Is there now?" said Joseph. "I should like to see that river." So they are talking about the river. Or Joseph wanted to see the river, said, "I should like to see that river." So that's number one. So what would number two be? Tip wrapped his arms around himself as he was cold. Joseph told Jim that he didn't want to die in the workhouse. Jim didn't know what day of the week it was. Jim was staring at the tall walls around the workhouse. So we haven't read any of those yet, but that is for you to read and find out. And the next question. So this is number three. Which of these events happened last in the extract? So last, well, page 62. Now page 63 doesn't have a page number, and a lot of the pages don't have page numbers. Well, some of them do, some of them don't. So I know some of you have said, "Where are the page numbers?" That sometimes they're not actually on the text. So there's our last page. So what is the last event? Was it Mr. Barrack was beating Tip? Tip pleaded with Joseph to go with him. Mr. Barrack pulled out a dirty handkerchief. Mr. Barrack threw Jim across the floor. And then, lastly, can you sum up what happens on page 62 and 63? So to sum up, you want to kind of think about 3 or 4 ideas on these 2 pages. So you might start with saying on the last 2 pages, and what you need to do is read those again and think, what is the most important things that were happening? Is it that Mr. Barrett was swinging his rope around? Is it that Mr. Barrack was getting angrier than ever? So thinking about is the really important things that happened on this page. Was it that Jim read the words out about God? No, it wouldn't be that, would it? So it's the most important things. Okay, so good luck, and we're looking forward to seeing your answers.